Mystery girl, mystery girl. Well, I think I got your mystery all figured out. Yellow diamond or blue diamond? Whose side are you on? Snag a tee or hoodie from our store. Link in the description. Welcome back to Crystal Clear on the Roundtable. I'm Oshrik Vox, and once again we get to talk about Mystery Girl. Throughout the past year, the fandom has been raving over this character, excited for her return. Now, a bit back, we discussed on how a recent episode of the Steven Universe podcast, it was revealed Mystery Girl was only conceived for Last One Out of Beach City. At the last minute, she wasn't planned for a long-term relationship or anything with Pearl, just a character to show she's capable of moving on. I don't believe this is the end of Mystery Girl, simply because while she may have been intended for a one-off, as always, Rebecca Sugar stated herself, there are no one-off characters in Steven Universe, meaning every character we see is slated to appear at least twice in the series proper. Not to mention, the story of a series, especially one that's projected to be as lengthy like Steven Universe, changes in production all the time. Even huge things like Amethyst being an overcooked runt was added to the story after the show itself already began. The Famethys and their introduction in the zoo arc was a reflection of her voice actress, Michaela Dietz's real-life experiences. Now, the crew of Steven Universe falls in love with their characters very easily, to the point where they just can't let them go after one or two appearances. For example, Kevin's most recent return. His character arc felt like it wrapped up easily in Beat City Drift, his second appearance. Yet, he returned recently in the episode Kevin Party. It's no secret the Crewniverse is fond of Kevin and writing him, leading me to believe his recent return will have longevity and we will see something very special with him. Tracking back to Mystery Girl, there's way too much potential for this character to just never see the light of day again. And I'm not just talking about being a screw toy for our bird mom. It's become apparent that if you're an ordinary human being that gets involved with the Crystal Gems, your life becomes anything but ordinary after. Connie became a swordsman. Greg's assisted the gems various times and became an item of interest to Blue Diamond. Lars is currently in the transition of being a pink, reanimated space pirate, starting his own battle against Homeworld. Not to mention the handful of townies who almost ended up as Zoomen. Who knows what fate lies for everyone else? Geez, Steven, you really need to get your life together. Seeing someone new that Pearl values become involved in alien warfare would be super interesting, especially if Mystery did it willingly. Imagine someone who right off the bat is down for all the weirdness and mayhem the gems indulge in on a daily basis. Paired out modifying her motorcycle to be suited for combat and reach new exciting speeds. It'd all be pretty dope. This is all basic speculation, of course, but here's a crazier concept that actually has more weight to it. Here's the double whammy. What if Mystery Girl's already familiar with the madness of gem kind? What if she's a gem hybrid? Now, this idea is nothing new, but some of you longtime viewers may be thinking, but Vox, I thought you hated the idea of Mystery Girl being a gem. And I still do. But a gem hybrid is different and way easier to digest. Frankly, if Steven is anything to go off of, it's a lot easier to believe a hybrid has been living on Earth in plain sight under the disguise of a normal human over a full-blown gem. I believe there are several pieces of evidence that lends to this game-changing revelation. That's right, everybody. Evidence! I'm not crazy! I'm not crazy! So let's start with the inclusion of what's likely her name. For the last month, everyone's been going crazy over the name drop in Kevin Party.
And if you don't pull it together, you're gonna regret it. And it'll be Sabina all over again.
Sabina. Sabina, Sabina, Sabina. Now, an immediate connection people have made between the name Sabina to Mystery Girl is that the latter's first name is still unknown at this current point in time. We just know she initialed her number with the letter S. Now, as everyone and their mother has offended by now, it may seem like an extreme conclusion to jump to, but Steven Universe is no stranger to clever writing, setting up major plot points episodes, if not seasons ahead of time. May I remind you guys of the list, or Ronaldo's various predictions? Yeah, the Crewniverse knows how to deliver. Okay, so her name is Sabina. What about it? Even if that is her name, how does that possibly correlate to her being a gem hybrid? Well, eager to debunk commenter, may I fancy you in some trivia? Sabina is already a pretty unique name alone. But did you know it was the name of a flower? Not just any flower, but a hybrid? That's right, Hybrid Tea Rose Sabina. Brought to life by crossbreeding two types of roses. Oh dear, roses? Mystery Girl's whole shtick was that she looked like rose quartz. This is starting to look like it wasn't a coincidence. Let's read up on this flower, shall we? This lovely fragrance tea rose is so pretty it almost looks like it's made of satin. The blossoms are in shades of soft blushing pink, and against the deep emerald green leaves, they look divine. A really wonderful choice to plant under a window, so you can enjoy the perfume all summer. Now let's look at Mystery Girl's final design compared to the concept art for the show. the original prototype for Last One Out of Beach City. While the pink hair was always implemented, the final version of Mystery Girl gave her green eyes and changed the palette of her flannel to match. Green and pink, the same color scheme as the flower hybrid she's named after. Also, I'd like to point out names in Steven Universe have a habit of being on the nose. I mean, Lars' full name Laramie means Tears of Love. And look what happened to him. So that all checks out. Her name being Sabina makes more sense than ever, but that still doesn't make a compelling argument for her being a gem hybrid. Well, let's look at the hints and context clues dropped throughout several season 4 episodes, the same season she debuted in. Now, towards the end of season 4, yes, we're starting backwards, they really started to push the idea of Steven not being the only gem hybrid out there. In Are You My Dad? When trying to figure out Akarine's intentions and crack the code of her mysterious search for my dad, the crystal gems state gems don't have fathers. They're gems. Connie throws out the idea that she could be a hybrid like Steven, only for the gems to immediately dismiss that idea. There's never been anyone like Steven. Connie follows up asking if they're absolutely sure, to which is met with silence. Now, this was clearly meant to be an awkward silence of comedic proportions. Like, I don't know, Connie. Is there someone out there like Steven? No, seriously. We didn't even know Rose had a lion. Anything's possible. Now let's backpedal a couple episodes to Line 4, alternate ending. Upon discovering the Nora tape, Steven's immediate thoughts are, am I not the only one? Do I have a sister? And while this was a bait and switch, it did make you ponder on that possibility for a brief moment. Pair this up with them addressing this again 2 episodes later, they're clearly building up something here. It's not even subtle. It's now a matter of when we'll see this hybrid rather than if we'll see them. Rewind the clock further back to Storm in the Room. Definitely one of the more emotionally draining episodes of season 4. Steven, feeling lost and confused, asks Rose's room to recreate his mother before his very eyes. In the midst of conversation with Rose Quartz, Steven slips in that he's been thinking about dyeing his hair pink in an attempt to be more like her. Now, honestly, I'd love to see Steven have some Super Saiyan-esque transformation where his hair turns pink, which I'll talk about another time. But for this situation, dyeing his hair pink? Well, in Last One Out of Beach City, Pearl's informed by Mystery Girl off screen that her pink hair is the result of, well, hair dye. Now, these 2 instances are unrelated at first glance, but this could be drawing another parallel between Steven and Sabina. Before I add the meat and potatoes of this theory, I also want to bring up Kevin once more. We know Kevin has a history with Sabina, which at this point we can confidently say is Mystery Girl. It's also important to note that Kevin has a pretty good understanding of how fusion works. He understands Stevonnie needs Steven and Connie to come to existence, and he understands Stevonnie is a different person from them altogether. He thinks Stevonnie is cool and the life of the party, while he thinks Steven and Connie are lame. Steven didn't even know what fusion was until he was 12, and he lives with the gems. So how did Kevin of all people piece it together so fast, unless he had experience with fusion prior? And how would he unless he encountered a being capable of fusion? Perhaps he even indulged in fusion in the past. Okay, so this makes sense from a logical standpoint, but from a narrative standpoint, how would this work? At the end of the day, that's what matters most. It's not just about what looks cool and sounds cool, but does it work in the scope of the story? Without feeling like contrived BS. Well, now we step back one last time to the zoo arc. And that will be all. We stumble upon the location of the remaining Rose Quartzes, assumably bubbled by Pink Diamond. Now, we can assume Pink Diamond bubbled all the Rose Quartzes in response to our Rose rebelling, but can we be sure? In both the zoo and gem heist, we get clues towards a bigger picture. The Zoomins referenced that a long time ago, a gem came through to aid a Zoomin who was hurt. This was more than likely a Rose Quartz. And in Gem Heist, Holly Blue Agate's the one-way entrance to the containment area has only been used once. For a human something. Before she can finish her statement, Ruby cuts her off with a distraction. Holly Blue Agate also mentions there's a human disposal chute. There are dots here we're not connecting. Dots that, knowing the show, will without a doubt be explored at a later time. So here's my over-the-top hot take. You ready? You sure you're ready? It might blow your mind. Once upon a time in the human zoo, one of the Zoomins were severely injured, so they had to be healed by one of the Rose Quartz gems. Now, we know our Rose had the capacity to love other beings, even romanticize them. Who says that was a one-off occurrence? What if this Rose Quartz fell in love with the injured Zoomin, having a hidden relationship behind Pink Diamond's back? This accumulated into the Rose Quartz being impregnated and giving birth to the very first human-gem hybrid, explaining how and why our Rose Quartz knew giving birth to Steven would cause her to cease from existence. This was seen as an abomination of Homeworld, utterly disgusting. As a result, this human gem hybrid was disposed of, explaining the only time the entrance was open was to, well, throw them out the human disposal chute. As consequence for bringing this hybrid into existence, The remaining rose quartzes in the zoo were bubbled as a result. I only say in the zoo because we see rose quartz gems in depictions of statues on Homeworld. I feel like they weren't relegated to just the zoo, and our rose being the reason they were bubbled is just a misdirect. But this would mean Sabina is thousands of years old. People are already making a big deal out of her possibly being older than Kevin by a few years. But a few thousand? It'd be a field day. What if I were to say this gem hybrid that was born in the zoo wasn't Sabina? This brings up another interesting concept we may see explored. What happens if a gem hybrid has children? Like if Steven and Connie were older and he knocked up Connie, he wouldn't cease to exist because she'd be the pregnant one. Even if Steven was female, the body is organic. He or she would have a natural womb and not a makeshift one like Rose's. Would that child still possess gem abilities? I believe yes. And I believe Sabina is the latest generation in a line of gem hybrid offsprings the gems didn't even know existed. Rose kept many secrets. Why should this be any exception? Hell, as far as we're concerned, she may be unaware this gem hybrid even survived, let alone conveniently make it all the way back to Earth. But it may make sense the human disposal chute is routed back to Earth, from dust to dust and ashes to ashes. This could also justify Sabina's response to Pearl explaining her body being made out of light, amounting to, I know how that is. Pearl thought she didn't actually know how that is. But maybe she does, as she's fully aware from her heritage and may experience shenanigans from her parents, grandparents, so on and so forth. She more than likely lacks a gemstone, and I akin that to how Saiyan hybrids in Dragon Ball lack a tail as time progresses, yet they still retain abilities of Saiyans proper. I acknowledge the idea this concept is very out there, but there's too many little things scattered around recent episodes to dismiss it. All that said, these are just my thoughts and I'd love to hear yours. This is a concept and theory I'd love to visit and retool as time goes on. I have no doubt in my mind Sabina is the true identity of Mystery Girl, and I'm inclined to believe there's more to her than meets the eye. But give me your hot take. Do you agree? Disagree? Let's get a conversation going by commenting below or tweeting your thoughts directly to me at OstricVox. You can also follow the Roundtable on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram, all at Roundtable Vids, and we're also on Snapchat at RoundtableYT. We have a Discord, official Amino app, and Patreon. Don't forget to check out and snag a yellow or blue diamond shirt from our store, and if you do, thank you. Links to everything in the description. If you enjoyed this video, please throw it a like, share it with your friends, and if you're new here, hit that subscribe button, it really helps us out. Hit that bell for notifications so you can stay in the loop for all things Steven. Thanks for watching, and I hope you have a beautiful day. OstricVox, out.